Baltimore Ravens take on the Denver Broncos 1 p.m. at the Bank this Sunday. Both teams 5-3. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry facing a tough Broncos defense. Will the Ravens defense be able to bounce back against a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix? We're diving into all the details of this matchup in this game preview episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans, Broncos fans? My name is Ryan. Welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown game preview episode. Big game this Sunday. Two teams that are 5-3 facing off against each other. We'll start with the Ravens offense going against this Broncos defense, which is not easy to go against. This is a tough matchup. Again, we had Cleveland's defense last week who gave us a lot of problems, especially on our offensive line. They kind of won that trenches battle, and Denver is pressuring at a high rate as well. Denver is able to get a lot of push from their front. They also have a really talented secondary, obviously led by Patrick Surtain at cornerback. That's a superstar. He can always make a crazy play. He's definitely one of the best corners in this game. They're getting great play by their safeties. This is going to be a tough test for the Ravens offense, especially the Ravens offensive line. I think if they can perform well, the Ravens should see a lot of offensive success, but I'm expecting some struggles just because Denver has been playing so well. But if you look at Denver's schedule, they have not played an offense even remotely like Baltimore's. And there's not many offenses out there that are as multiple or as good as Baltimore's is. So it makes sense that they haven't went against someone like that. But this will also be a test for Denver's D. I want us to commit to this run game early, test them out, try to establish the run, because if we can run, it's going to be a dominant victory. If we can't run, they're stacking the box, they're bringing pressure, the offensive line's not getting enough push or opening up enough holes, then obviously counter through the air. If Lamar's under pressure, we need those quick outlets. We need those quick answers so Lamar can get the ball out of his hands fast to running backs, tight ends, quick slants with receivers out in space. Deontay Johnson is a big X factor in this game if he does play, because we obviously haven't seen him. There's not a ton of chemistry there, but having Johnson gives the Ravens a lot of flexibility to really spread Denver's defense out and just take advantage of the mismatch. You know, obviously probably not going to have a ton of success throwing at Patrick Surtain. You know, I know Zay Flowers is a tough cover. Deontay Johnson's a tough cover, but I wouldn't test Patrick Surtain over and over again. This guy is an elite corner. I don't really think that that's the best strategy, but we have so many weapons everywhere that they're not going to be able to have Patrick Surtains all over the field, you know? So we're going to be able to create mismatches, but I would really like to see Derrick Henry and this run game get going. I'm not expecting a ton of running from Lamar. He'll obviously do what he's got to do, and if there's a lane and a pass play that breaks down, he's going to take off, but I don't know how many design runs or how much Lamar wants to run after being pretty beat up this week. He obviously missed 2 practices. I'm not concerned about an injury or anything like that, but it does kind of lead way to how his body's feeling, and you know, glad that he took the rest to get his body right for Sunday, but we have another quick game on Thursday, so I don't know if this is the game that Lamar just goes crazy on the ground. I think that we're going to try to run through Henry, Justice Hill, maybe Keaton Mitchell if he's playing. I think he's ready to go, but it's just going to be a numbers game this Sunday if we need more defensive linemen because Travis Jones or Broderick Washington can't go, then Keaton Mitchell's not going to play this week. But Keaton Mitchell's definitely going to be back this week or that game on Thursday most likely, so excited to have him back. That's extreme juice to this lineup. I really think the Ravens offense is going to be able to score enough in this game. You know, the real question for me in this game is, will the real Baltimore Ravens defense stand up? Can the Ravens defense play to their full potential? We have stars all over the field. Last week was a little bit different because we didn't have Marlon Humphrey or Nate Wiggins, so being down 2 starting corners like that doesn't make the game easy. We got a Jalen Armour-Davis coming off IR who was tossed in, was getting picked on. We're not getting pass rush. I don't know if the pass rush is going to thrive in this game either, and I think that that's the biggest question mark. So the whole conversation about this game is, can we get pressure on Bo Nix? If we can make him uncomfortable and get some pressure on him quick, it's going to be a long day for this Denver Broncos offense. I know Bo Nix has been playing better of late. There's no doubt about it. Respect to Bo Nix, but he's a rookie quarterback. The Ravens have a history of nothing but success against rookie quarterbacks. We always win. We always kind of make them look worse than they actually are, and we take advantage of their inexperience by a bunch of disguised looks. We've been talking about our defensive scheme and if we should simplify it. And the Ravens defense very well may simplify it a little bit, especially with how much miscommunication they've been having. But I think in a game like this, those disguises actually work to your favor because Bo Nix is going to make some mistakes in protection. He's going to be under pressure from a random Kyle Hamilton or Arthur Millette coming out of nowhere. That leads to high chances of strip sack fumbles like we saw last week with Kyle Hamilton against Jameis Winston. And that leads to Bo Nix forcing passes or throwing off his back foot or just making a lot of mistakes that rookie quarterbacks make. But we have to put pressure on him. If he's back there in a clean pocket, he has the talent and the ability. We've seen it against Carolina and in previous weeks before that. He has plenty of talent and ability and some talented receivers out there to attack us through the air like every other team has been doing. So is the real Ravens defense going to stand up? If they do, this is a dominant win. If they don't, and Bo Nix has all day, and maybe they even get the run game going a little bit because we are very thin on the defensive line. If the Broncos are able to do what they want, then obviously this is going to be a tight game. Broncos have a great chance of winning it, especially because I think their defense will get some stops on the Ravens offense. We're not going to just steamroll them. So it really comes down to how uncomfortable, how many mistakes can you force Bo Nix to make? We all know what this Ravens defense is capable of. It's kind of ridiculous through 9 weeks that they really haven't had a full game outside of the Buffalo Bills game. So I'm expecting this Ravens defense. They've heard enough noise. We've heard from Roquan. He's keeping receipts, you know what I mean? Whatever. Obviously, we need to be critical of them. They're not playing well. I'm not sitting here saying that I don't like this Ravens defense or that they're not capable of it, but it's fair to call out bad performance. I do think the Ravens secondary gets a big lift from last week in that Cleveland game. I mean, you're adding Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins back into the cornerback room. Marcus Williams is going to play in this game. He was benched last game. Harbaugh confirmed he will play in this game. We'll see what happens with Eddie Jackson. I'm not sure if they're going to bench him or what his role is going to be. I would imagine it's somewhat diminished. We might see more Kyle Hamilton in the back or more Ardarius Washington filling in for Eddie Jackson. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to play it, but Marcus Williams is back. And then Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins are back. So there's no doubt that the Ravens secondary gets a huge lift. I think with those corners back, that is going to buy the pass rush an extra second or two. So it's up to Van Noy and Owe and Jabo if he plays, Tavius Robinson, Matabike. We need to get pressure. And then another big thing I'll add on quickly. I feel like a broken record saying this, but the Ravens can't beat themselves. We've played down and made a lot of mistakes to teams that we should beat. And no disrespect to the Broncos, man. Great team, outperforming expectations, bright future. I think Sean Payton's got those guys playing really hard, and that matters. And they're all bought in. The Broncos are 5-3. No one thought they were going to be this good. And they can definitely win this game, but let's not sit here and say that the Baltimore Ravens aren't by far the better team in this game. They just are. And they need to play like it. They need to not have self-inflicted wounds. Less penalties, less dropped interceptions. If we could just catch one or two of those interceptions that come our way, it's going to be a completely different game. Less drop passes on offense. I don't think that that's going to be a consistent problem. We haven't seen that all year, but we have seen dropped interceptions all year, and we've seen a ton of penalties. So if we can clean those two up, that's going to go a long way. So the Ravens can't be beating themselves. They need to play a clean game, no penalties, and we need to catch the ball when it comes our way. We'll end this with some score predictions. I got the Ravens winning this one 27-17, and I think the real Ravens defense does stand up. I think that we see a much better performance from the Ravens defense. They've heard enough talk. There's way too much talent over there for them not to show up. This game being at Baltimore, coming off of a loss last week that we feel like we shouldn't have lost once again. I just think that this team's going to be fired up, locked in, and we're going to win this game pretty handedly. I think that the Ravens defense steps up in a big way, and we're starting to have some more confidence in them because this is the game. Rookie quarterback, not a ton of weapons. I mean, I'm not trying to disrespect their team. I like Javonte Williams. He's a hard runner. Like Cortland Sutton a lot. Big body receiver, can catch the ball, big catch radius, can get open. You know, they got a few weapons, but it is not enough to sit here and just have an air raid on this Baltimore Ravens defense. So let's get some pressure. Corners are going to do what they're supposed to do. Let's get this dub, man. I think that the Ravens can really come away with this. Bold prediction is 3 turnovers, 2 interceptions, and a strip sack fumble recovery. So I got the Ravens getting 3 turnovers. I think that they really come alive on defense in this game, and the Ravens are able to comfortably win this. I hope I'm right, because I do not want to see another freaking air raid on this secondary, and enough's enough, man. This is not the team to do it. Now, next Thursday night against the Bengals, that's going to be a tough offense to just completely stop. But the Ravens in this game with pressure can really slow down this Broncos offense, and I expect that they will. So, got confidence in my guys one more time. Don't let me down, man. If our defense is awful again, we are going to have some serious conversations on Sunday evening. But I got confidence, man. I got confidence in a bounce-back game at home coming off a loss. I think this team's got a lot of fight in them, and they're way too talented, and I think that they come away with this one. Vegas also agrees. That's why they got it as a 9.5-point favorite in this game. Didn't mean much last week. I think we were a 9.5-point favorite last week, and then we lose to the Browns by 5 or whatever. So the spread is definitely not the end-all, be-all by any means, but last week was such a different scenario without our corners there, and with everyone back in this game, I just think that this defense had enough, man. I think they're going to get right. But we'll see. It's a week-to-week league. It's the NFL. Anything can happen. The Broncos have been playing great. I just think that they ain't faced a team like this. But that's it for today, guys. I appreciate you, as always, for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. Go Ravens. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.